There are obviously quite a lot of weapons within Call of Duty, from guns to melee weapons to kill streaks, but there have been a few select weapons that always seem to return title after title, year after year. One of those guns is the MP40. The MP40 is by far one of the most iconic Call of Duty guns, reigning all the way back to World at War. It hasn't been in every Call of Duty title, and it certainly hasn't been in every iteration of Zombies, but to my knowledge at least, it's been in 6 games, and that's Zombies only, by the way. I do believe it's been in Black Ops 4, which would make it 7, but I don't think it's available in Zombies, and honestly, I'm just too lazy to figure out or not. So today, I will be going through each game that the MP40 is in, and only using that gun. I'll be trying to get to as high a round as possible, and clearly whichever game I get to the highest round on has the best MP40. Starting us off, we have World at War, and I chose Doris as it's the only map that has both Pack-a-Punch and perks. Luckily for me as well, the MP40 is a war gun in this game, and it's actually a war gun in every other game we'll be playing today as well. Well, except Black Ops 3, but we'll get to that later. Early game, I grind out some points, and annoyingly, the MP40 is locked behind 3 doors, which is also surprisingly quite expensive. So I end up running out of ammo on round 3, and there's no way in hell I'm attempting to knife a full round of zombies on this game. I might be an idiot, but you know, there is a line. So until the end of the round, I pretty much just played out Dempsey's wet dream of blowing everything up, and lo and behold, shortly later, the MP40 was mine. The MP40 from this point just kinda does what the MP40 does and kills everything. Early game, there's no really stopping this thing. From here, I decided to open up the other side of the map to get to power. I know I could have just continued on the path I was going, but honestly, yeah, you know, the other side's just a bit better. Like, it just is. Yes, it's a waste of points, but it's not like I was going to be pack-punching at the end of round 4. Between rounds 5 to 8, I didn't really do much of anything, to be honest, other than basically standing still and shooting things. But by the end of round 7, I had my perks bought, and yes, I did buy double tap. I know it's pretty controversial for World at War, but anything that makes my gun go bare quicker is always going to be a win for me. Round 9, I was out of ammo, so I headed over to the war buy and got some. From here, I also thought it might be a good time to start working on Pack-a-Punch. I knew for a fact that if I left it any later, it was bound to bite me in the ass, and well, I can't be screwing things up just yet. I'll save that play for a little later. By the end of round 10, the Pack-a-Punch was all opened up, and I got my MP40 upgraded to the Afterburner. There is one thing about the earlier games that I don't love about them, and it's the lack of ammo you get. I genuinely think you only get an extra 32 bullets once you upgrade this gun on World at War. And when you have zombies that think they're Prime Mark Henry and just shrug everything you fire at them off by round 15, yeah, it's not a great pairing. The way I saw it now that I had a Pack-a-Punch MP40 was that I had 2 options. I could A, try my hand at camping the catwalk, which was probably the same as signing my own death warrant, as it's not exactly the best idea when you only have a singular gun. Or, option B, I could try and train the zombies, which I am absolutely awful at on this game, so I obviously picked option B. And to be fair, the first few rounds of training went pretty well. I mean, it was still early days, but the confidence was growing. Yeah, that was until round 15. You see, on round 15, we had dogs, and if there's anything I've learned about this game is that the dogs don't mess about, and I hate them with every fiber in my being. Also probably the main reason as to why I prefer cats these days. But anyway, round 15 is rough. The dogs are tanking my bullets, and I almost go through an entire set of ammo before the end of the round, but I managed to clear it. The main problem now, however, was that from round 16 onwards, I wouldn't just be fighting zombies, I would also have to deal with the dogs that are built like the beefiest brick shithouses you've ever seen. Of course, during round 16, the dogs rock my world in all of the wrong ways, and I die. Because it's World at War, there's no revives, and that's the end of the first attempt. But luckily we do have 5 more to go, and up next is Black Ops 1. When I think of Black Ops 1, I immediately think of the MP40 and Kino de Toten, so that is exactly where we're headed for this run. This game starts off very well. By the end of round 3, I have quick revive and more than enough points to move from spawn down to the MP40 warbuy, which is exactly what I do. And by the time the round 4 zombies begin spawning in, I've already got my gun up and ready. Round 6, power is on and Jug is bought. At this point, I'm a little poor on points, so for the next few rounds, I focused on grinding out as many points as I could. And at the start of round 8, I get speed bought. So far so good for the MP40. As I said earlier, I do believe that the MP40 on Kino de Toten is peak Call of Duty. Black Ops 1, you know, kind of stinks, don't get me wrong. Pretty overrated game. But at this moment, it's pretty great, and I will always hold this pairing in high regard. It especially gets better once I grab my final perk of the game, Double Tap. Yet again, I know, kind of sacrilegious to be using the 1.0 version, but when it makes the gun go bare quicker, my tiny ADD brain is a fan, so just let me be. In fact, having all of the perks together was working quite well, to the point where I didn't even bother pack punching until the very end of round 12 when I ran out of ammo. From here on, the MP40 just cruised through the rounds. I don't know if I could go as far as saying this version of the MP40 is better than the World at War version, but it did make it through round 16 this time, and the MP40 was still crushing zombies, as it was only taking 1 or 2 bullets to kill each enemy. The only issue was actually hitting them, as I didn't only double my fire rate when I bought double tap, I also doubled my recoil, so maybe not the smartest idea ever, but yeah, my gun still goes bare. The Black Ops 1 MP40 kept going bare all the way up to round 20 without any real trouble, other than the fact Treyarch still hadn't figured out how to give guns extra ammo once pack-a-punch, so every 2 minutes I was running back and forth to the wall-buy. Things did, however, begin to get a bit dicey in and around round 23. I thought it would be a good idea to back myself into a corner. Spoilers, it isn't, and I end up taking it down. Luckily, it didn't affect me too much, and by the end of that same round, I had all of my perks back and was ready to go again. All the way until round 26, where I took a second down. Now, this down is solely down to me being an idiot. During these games, I tend to listen to music, and I just so happened to be listening to my Discover Weekly on Spotify, and a song I quite liked played, and I went to pause the game to add the song to my liked playlist. Now, the stupidity comes into play when you understand that on my keyboard I have media buttons such as a skip and a pause, of which I pressed pausing the music, not my game, and in doing so my brain just stopped, and I also stopped moving thinking the game was paused. It wasn't. By the time I paused the game, I'd taken a couple of hits, leaving me weak, and the second I unpause, I take the rest of those hits and I go down. And I fully blame that down on the collapse of this run, because the very next round, I end up dying for good. Meaning the Black Ops 1 MP40 only run comes to a close on round 27, which I will add isn't the worst in the world. Would have been nice to hit that round 30, but you know, sometimes your brain just breaks. Black Ops 2 is up next, and this game only has one map that offers the MP40, and that map is Origins. Origins not only offers the MP40, it also provides it on the wall, which is a huge bonus, as that means I still don't have to wrestle with the box to give me what I want, because I think we all know how that will go. This game starts just like all the others, grind out a few points over the first few rounds, and by round 3, grab the MP40. Over the next few rounds, I mainly worked on getting the generators turned on. I mean, it's Origins, we all know the deal by now. Round 4, Jug is bought. It was also now that I noticed I hadn't got myself quick revive, so I got that changed pretty sharpish, just to make sure I avoided any potential embarrassment. Round 6, stamina was also acquired, and the last generator was on. I was hoping to get Pack-a-Punch by round 8, which I probably would have gotten if I hadn't purchased stamina, but oh well. Speaking of round 8, that was up next, and even though I didn't get Pack-a-Punched, there wasn't any panic, as a well-timed zombie blood made taking down the Panzer a breeze. End of round 8, Pack-a-Punch was acquired, and this is by far the best the MP40 will ever look. Like, damn, how is this still one of the best Pack-a-Punch camos after all of these years? Speed was also bought just the next round, but unfortunately, I wouldn't be speeding my way through many more rounds. You may recall earlier, I alluded to the potential blunder. Well, guess what? That's now. Round 12, I die. And I die because of the goddamn Panzer. He spawns in, and I get to blasting. I'm running around, just making sure I keep him at a decent distance. I run to stamina up, and I quickly turn around to see if there's no zombies before I turn back and continue my shooting. Only problem is, I don't look long enough, and I completely miss this zombie just staring at me like a dork. Of course, I turn my back to him, and I end up being the main in a zombie Panzer sandwich. It gets better from here. The Panzer camps me like the asshole he is, and once I revive, he hits me with the flamethrower, only for me to then panic and proceed to get myself killed by 2 zombies that come running straight at me. And just like that, we're already heading off to Black Ops 3. Black Ops 3 is the one enigma in this video, the odd one out, if you will. That is down to the fact that this game doesn't ship with the MP40. The gun itself didn't actually exist on the game on launch, and kept on not existing for months until it was brought back as the HG40 as a supply drop DLC weapon. This also means it's not available on any of the walls on any of the maps, which also means it's only available in the box. Now, just to remove the entire headache that would be spinning the box and praying for the right gun, I kinda cheated. and to be honest, there's no kinda about it. I just full on cheated by booting up the mod menu and giving myself the correct gun off the rip. I also picked Grod Krovi for this one, which was definitely an odd choice as it is by far the most difficult map on the game, at least for me anyway, so this should go well. As I had my gun from spawn, I got straight to it, and by straight to it, I mean just killing things, as I really have no clue as to what I'm doing on this map. I know a lot of people hold this map up as one of the greats, but personally, it's just never been at that level for me. I mean, don't get me wrong, there is a lot of great stuff on the map, the dragons, the boss fight, it also gives us the best version of the ray gun, but it's really just not for me, which is why it's perfect for one of these challenges. We start off by making our way over to power and getting that all turned on, which is pretty much as far as my knowledge of this map takes me. From here, I grabbed the Groff module when they dropped and got those completed, and other than that, all I did was move through the rounds and buy more perks, and by the end of round 8, I had all 3 of the modules and my 4 perks. But there was one issue. I had no idea what to do with the modules now that I had them, but eventually after a few rounds of just looking around like an idiot, I stumbled across the correct place to put them, and then I was off to Pack-a-Punch. Once the MP40 was upgraded, I got to clearing out the zombies. It was now that I remembered that the Mangler was on this map, and I remembered because he almost got me killed. He spawns in and blasts me, which obviously panics my tiny brain, but what I didn't spot was the zombies behind me ready to screw me over. Luckily, I got to blasting and pretty quickly cleared out all of the zombies. We head back to the main part of the map and pretty quickly get back to it. Although, I won't lie, I didn't really know where to train. I at first started out in the spawn, but the area where the dragon does his thing just kept kind of pissing me off. So I switched it up and moved over to the tank factory. Here things were going pretty well for a few rounds at least, as on round 20 everything just fell apart. I get bombarded by zombies and a mangler, which leads to me taking it down, but no worries. I recover my perks, take out the zombies and go again, only for the exact same thing to happen the very next round. But we recover our perks and go again, only for the same thing to happen again, just this time it's a Valkyrie, not a Mangler, and just like that on round 22, our Black Ops 3 excursion comes to an end. Usually at this point in the video, we'd be heading into Black Ops 4, or maybe Cold War, but not today, because the MP40 isn't in zombies on those games, but it is in zombies on Vanguard. Yes, that is right, we're off to Vanguard, and if you click off the video now, I fully understand. Here we are, Vanguard Zombies, and this is probably the game I am most likely going to get around 50. But as long as I beat round 28, I'd be happy. We start off by doing a little first room challenge where I rediscovered the best thing about this game, and it's this very specific ragdoll animation. Like, genuinely, you could keep me entertained for hours by this. Anyway, after a few more rounds of proving I have the sense of humor of a 6-year-old, I left spawn, grabbed myself a level of jug, and made my way down to the fishing hut. I went this way simply just to get whatever perk was inside maxed out as quickly as I could, as I couldn't be bothered to constantly be running all over the place. Which was quite ironic as the perk was Stamina Up. After a few rounds of point grinding, I got my tier 4 perk and booked it over to the Covenant where I found Deadshot first time and got it bought. From here I focused on getting my first Pack-a-Punch upgrade, which was later acquired on round 11. At this point the MP40 was putting out good damage, well enough to at least one-shot zombies to the head, granted I could actually hit them in the head. After a round of shooting things I got myself Unholy Ground, which is another great Covenant to pick up. Over the next 10 or so rounds, I fully focused on getting all of my perks upgraded, and by round 20, I had a fully maxed out Deadshot perk thing, you know, the fake Deadshot one, and Stamina Up, with Jug and Quick Revive just needing one more upgraded. You may also notice no Speed Cola. Yeah, that's simply down to the fact I couldn't be bothered to run to the other side of the map to buy it. Beginning of round 21, I got my second Pack-a-Punch upgrade, and also got myself a fully upgraded Dead Accurate, which I discovered was dead good, as it increased my damage the more I shot a single enemy, basically making light work of any of the boss zombies. By round 30, I had my 4 perks now fully upgraded. Still no speed because, well, you guessed it, just too lazy to go and buy it. I had swapped out Dead Accurate, which I won't lie, I was kinda regretting, but Deathblow was okay, and it helped me with ammo as I was losing a lot of bullets very quickly with this gun. But like I said, Deathblow pretty much fixes that. I also had Unholy Ground and the MP40 maxed, and when the pair were working in tandem, I was dealing just under 7,000 damage, which is kinda nuts for an SMG. On round 32, I finally went and bought speed and completed my perk setup. Up to round 35, there wasn't much of a challenge, although I did take a really dumbed down around 34, which we're not going to talk about. But from round 35 onwards, this is when things begin to get hectic, as this is when all the super sprinters and overall hell just begins to spawn. The next few rounds were a bit of a pain in the ass, but I slowly and meticulously made my way to round 40 where the real pain started. From this round onwards, it's just pure chaos. As the zombies don't bunch together on this game like order installments, there's just zombies all over the place, which becomes quite a headache to deal with. It was bound to happen eventually, and on round 45, I take a second down of the game. I head over to check the covenants for dead accurate or better dead shot, and just get overloaded by zombies on my way back to the dig site and end up taking the down. Things don't last for too much longer from here on. As I'm fighting the zombies, I just get bombarded by zombies. As I can't run away as quickly anymore, I stand no chance and end up taking another down, which coincidentally happens to be my last of the game. Round 45 with the MP40 isn't bad. I mean, I don't really have a scale of what's good or bad in Vanguard, but it sounds good, so I'll take it. Now there is one more run left, one more game and one more map, and a first in a video like this. Usually I stick to just try out games in these videos, but I was feeling a little frisky with it today, and the final run with our MP40 will be on the final Reich on World War II zombies. That is right, the best non-Treyarch zombies, to round out what has been a very fun experience for me at least. We spawn in and get to smacking some zombies with our shovel. The thing I will say about this game that is the jump scares, even after all these years, still managed to get me. Especially early game when I've got no gun. I mean, you can't really get a full scale of my reaction with post commentary, but just know my knees were shaking. Round 3 we get the whole thing opened up, as well as the power turned on. From here, I made my way over to the MP40 wallby next to Pack Punch and got things rolling. Now from here on, not gonna lie, I didn't have a clue what I was doing. Even though this is one of my favorite maps outside of Treyarch, I still to this day forget how to play it. So much so that I couldn't remember how to get Pack Punch activated, so what I did was I started doing the Easter egg. When all I had to do was press a button that sits literally next to the Pack Punch machine. I swear I might actually be the dumbest zombies player going. Anyway, we get the salt mine opened up and complete this lockdown, which in turn shuts off all the lights, which is great for an idiot who's already been jump scared several times. From here on, I actually had to finish off the first part of the Easter egg, which is building the Tesla gun. So, beginning of round 11, we get the first part and half the lights turned back on, and at the end of the same round, we get the second part and the other half of the lights back. Before I head off to build the gun, I run down to the wallby and buy some ammo, where I then discover the button I should have pressed about 15 minutes ago, which is just great. I run back over to the main room, which is when the Brenner spawns, basically just a huge brute with a flamethrower. Not exactly the most enjoyable fight in the world when you've only got an unpack-punched MP40, but I got it done. Eventually. With the Brenner dead, I built the Tesla gun and just left it there. I mean, it's not like I could use it. From here, I also got the Pack Punch opened, which requires you to just go down some very suspect looking drainage pipes, but it is what it is. Round 14, Pack Punch is finally open and we got ourselves an upgraded MP40. I gotta say too that this version of the MP40, it kinda goes pretty hard. Other than the 20 seconds of panic during and after Pack Punching, this gun was smooth sailing all the way up to round 20. Even once I crossed into the 20 threshold, this gun was still cooking. In fact, it didn't slow down until about round 24, which funnily enough was when another Brenner spawned, and it was just as terrifying the second go around as it was the first. It takes me a minute, but I eventually take him down and we move on. But we didn't move on for too many more rounds. I don't know if it was a gun or just the lack of playing this game, but things got way harder over the next couple of rounds. And on round 26, I ended up taking my first down of the game. I'm trying to take down one of the big guys and just get bodied from behind by a whole group of zombies. This annoyingly was followed up by a second down and also my death. Considering I was mid-round and you get locked into the perk animation when you buy them, getting quick revive at this moment was off the cards. But unfortunately it didn't matter too much, as I just get abused by zombies and take the L. Now if we're going based on rounds, the clear winner is the Vanguard version, but I think I'd give the crown to the Black Ops 1 version. Maybe down to nostalgia, but it's just so goddamn good. I mean, come on. And with that, thank you very much for watching. I hope you'll have a great rest of your day, and as always, I'll see you in the next one.